I'm Megan Skidmore, and this is Beyond the Shadow of Doubt. I am a woman, daughter, sister, spouse, mother, life coach, and person of faith on a mission to normalize asking questions and allowing doubts, not only in a faith journey, but in all aspects of life. Join me in bringing this traditionally taboo topic out of the shadows of shame and into the sunlight. I'm a firm believer that we normalize through more talking and having more discussion. When we're more authentic about our journey, we are more powerful because shame has no power in the face of authenticity. Beyond the Shadow of Doubt is a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, which is a part of the Dialogue Journal found at dialoguejournal.com/podcast network. Founder Eugene England was a Mormon writer, teacher, and scholar who wrote, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue. My hope is that this podcast is an extension of that vision." Hey everyone, this is the Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am all about breaking stigmas. If this isn't your first episode, you know I created this podcast to attempt to bring the traditionally taboo topic of having doubts and asking questions out of the shadows, peel back the layers of shame, and shed light and insight on this topic. In 1949, National Mental Health Awareness Month was began by Mental Health of America organization, which was then known as the National Association for Mental Health. And it continues to be National Mental Health Awareness Month every year in May in the United States. Its purpose is to raise awareness and educate the public about mental illnesses. It draws attention to suicide and attempts to reduce the stigma or negative attitudes and misconceptions surrounding mental illness. Oxford Languages defines mental health as a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. I read this article that compared mental health to a vast ocean. And so if our mental health were compared to a vast ocean, our emotional health would be the waves that are going up and down across the surface of the water, sometimes higher, sometimes lower, sometimes stronger, sometimes softer. And that imagery really stuck with me, so much so that I expanded on this concept and I added my own parts to this vast ocean of mental health. So I added our physical health, and that could be comparable to the vessel that we are aboard, such as a life preserver versus a yacht. The more capable our vessel, the more equipped we are on the vast seas. And the same is true of our physical vessels or our physical bodies. Spiritual health could be compared to the fuel of the watercraft. The more we have, the further we'll go. When our fuel is depleted, of course, we have to stop so that we can refuel. Fuel required for a life preserver or a fishing boat or a yacht will make for a very different journey. Our intellectual health, I compare to the weather overhead, be it full sun or stormy or heavy or even medium rains. It invites us to ask, is there further light and knowledge available? Or are we dwelling on the storms and rain clouds? There is insight and growth to be had in all kinds of weather. All of it is connected by, you got it, mental health. It touches all of it. That vast ocean touches emotional, physical, spiritual, and intellectual health. It's intertwined, it's interconnected, interdependent, all connected to this vast ocean. Although it's not clinically diagnosable, loneliness often accompanies and even exacerbates many mental health challenges, such as anxiety, depression, and dementia, as well as physical health challenges like heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. I wanted to take a moment to focus on it because even at, give or take, 3 years post-pandemic, according to a recent New York Times article, we are and have been in an epidemic of loneliness. This article was published on the 30th of April of this year, 2023, and is called Surgeon General, We have become a lonely nation. It's time to fix that. It's written by Surgeon General Dr. Vivek H. Murthy. Dr. Murthy shares, after my job as Surgeon General ended, I felt ashamed to reach out to friends I had ignored. I found myself increasingly lonely and isolated, and it felt as if I was the only one who felt that way. Loneliness, he continues, like depression, with which it can be associated, can chip away at your self-esteem and erode your sense of who you are. That's what happened to me. Later in the article, Dr. Murthy says, at any moment, about 1 out of every 2 Americans is experiencing measurable levels of loneliness. This includes introverts and extroverts, rich and poor, and younger and older Americans. Dr. Murthy continues, this week I am proposing a national framework to rebuild social connection and community in America. Loneliness is more than just a bad feeling. When people are socially disconnected, their risk of anxiety and depression increases. So does their risk of heart disease by 29%, dementia 50%, and stroke by 32%. The increased risk of premature death associated with social disconnection is comparable to smoking daily and may even be greater than the risk associated with obesity. At the link that I will leave in the show notes to this national framework, Dr. Murthy answers the question, what if there is something in our everyday lives that can transform our whole health and well-being? He proposes it needs to be cared for and nurtured by all, kind of like a garden, and can create healthier, more prosperous, and resilient communities. And of course, the thing that he is referring to and proposing is social connection. I invite you to read more of this article, as well as the 82-page document, the Surgeon General's Advisory on the Healing Effects of Social Connection and Community. And again, I'll leave links in the show notes. In conclusion, I wanted to also point out that there are state and national resources, some of which are available internationally to help support in mental health challenges. The Mental Health of America, first and foremost, has a chapter in each state and in most cities. You can go to their website, take a depression screener, and also download a free mental health toolkit. The Trevor Project has trained individuals available 24/7, either by chat, text, or phone. NAMI also has resources at their website. And if you want to talk to someone in person, go to the Southern Area Behavioral Health website, as it has a walk-in clinic. You can always call 988. That is similar to 911 is for emergencies. 988 is the number to dial for mental health emergencies. Thank you for joining me today. If you have questions or if something resonated for you, please shoot me an email at hello@meganskidmorecoaching.com. And I just want to also conclude with having your own one-to-one life coach is a great way to support your mental health. Have a blessed day. Come join me in Hopeful Spaces, a Dallas Hope Charities component of Hopeful Discussions, which is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz Financial Services USA. Hopeful Spaces is a monthly parent, caregiver, and ally support group facilitated by Megan Skidmore Coaching. To join is free. Simply send an email to chc@dallashopecharities.org. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com, where you can find this podcast, as well as additional free resources. Check the podcast show notes on any platform for links to sources cited. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more and to send me a DM. To help the podcast grow, please follow, rate, and review, as well as share it with a friend. Beyond the Shadow of Doubt is a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, which is a part of the Dialogue Journal found at dialoguejournal.com/podcast network. Founder Eugene England was a Mormon writer, teacher, and scholar who wrote, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue. My hope is that this podcast is an extension of that vision." Thanks for being here. Until next time.